he's up to. Sherman's just a source of information. Too much liberty, Cheetham. Liberty plucks justice by the nose. Ironic that it's so hard to pin down people already locked away.
Look at this, sir.
Who's that with her?
Archer. Prison doctor.
Inspector, I didn't know this was one of your haunts.
It isn't. I was in the neighborhood.
Let me introduce you. Stephen Archer, Chief Inspector Morse. Stephen's the prison doctor.
Oh, yes. Your opinion was somewhat inaccurate in the Cryer case, Doctor.
Incomplete rather than inaccurate.
Of course. Mrs. Stevens, I wonder if I might have a word.
Stephen, would you mind? Could you get me something to eat?
Would you know what was going on at Farnley, Mr. Archer?
Oh, I'm just the doctor, Inspector. I confine my attentions to medical matters.
What do you know about syringes?
As I said, I am a doctor.
What's your problem, Morse?
The usual professional one, catching a killer. What's yours?
Running a prison in trying circumstances.
Did you know that one of your staff is acting as Bailey's private courier? George Newcomb. You all right?
What does that matter? What do you think the Home Office do when a prisoner dies? Send a note of congratulation. Thanks, that's one less to deal with.
There'll be an inquiry.
Which you'll be part of, Morse, and whatever you dig up.
I don't know.
You better believe it. For those who don't like Farnley, or rather, for those who don't like the way I run Farnley, it's too good an opportunity.
Morning, sir. On the razzle, were we?
On the what? Why are you so disgustingly cheerful?
Cheetham was wrong, sir.
Oh, that's why.
Those investors weren't all expatriates. Good 100 live in England. 6 of them within 50 miles of Farnley.
So?
So it makes the threatening letters relevant, doesn't it? It's a connection.
It's a bloody remote connection.
Have you got a better one?
Yes, Roland Sherman, Bailey's pet analyst. Lives near the prison, feeds Bailey his financial information.
Someone called Sherman used to visit Bailey twice a week.
Visitor's log. Popular man, Alex Bailey. The only person that doesn't visit him is his wife.
This is good, Lewis. Really good. Why has Peter Thornton taken to visiting Bailey all of a sudden? And why was he lurking at Cryer's inquest? Let's go and talk to him. No, you talk to him. I'll go and see Mrs. Bailey. Mrs. Bailey, my name is Morse, Chief Inspector, Thames Valley CID.
I'm Mrs. Bailey.
Mrs. Alex Bailey?
Yes?
I'd like to talk to you about Lawrence Cryer, Mrs. Bailey. You knew him well?
Well enough. I disliked him. He and my first husband were in business together at one time. The only thing I've got to thank Lawrence for is Alex.
I don't follow.
When my first husband died, Lawrence called round to pay his respects. Alex happened to be with him. Do you believe in love at first sight, Inspector? No, you're not the type, are you?
Actually, I probably am. Well, I hope I am. Cryer made a lot of enemies in his career. Are you aware of anyone in particular recently?
I thought he was assaulted by one of his fellow prisoners at Farnley. What would I know about what goes on there?
You don't visit your husband?
No. It's, inconvenient. We speak on the phone every day.
You don't know if your husband and Lawrence Cryer had quarrelled recently?
Alex owes his career to Lawrence. I may not have liked him, but he was like a father to Alex. And Alex repaid him with complete loyalty.
Then does Brian Thornton share your husband's loyalty?
Oh, God. Does it never end? I loathe that company and everything associated with it.
Brian Thornton?
At the trial, Alex and Lawrence argued the same defense. Brian Thornton didn't. His son, Peter, persuaded him to plead ignorance. Well, it was nonsense, of course. Thornton knew what he was doing, and Lawrence could prove it. Peter Thornton was very bitter about it all. Not very pleasant, I suppose, watching your father cracking up, floundering.
So you'd say that Thornton is the one with the grudge against Cryer?
I don't think Brian Thornton's new beliefs allow him to have grudges, Inspector. I'm not sure that extends to his son. Before you leave, Inspector, perhaps you'd let me give you something for Alex.
Got a present out of it, then?
Don't ask. What about Peter Thornton?
Haven't got a hold of him. Neighbours say he's hardly ever in.
Cracks are beginning to appear. I don't think the unholy trinity liked each other very much. Let's talk to their loved ones, starting with Emma Cryer. Bailey's the key. Thornton's gone peculiar. Cryer's dying, so they all visit Bailey. Why? What has he got?
He's got some threatening letters.
Lewis, will you shut up about those?
Yeah, look over there. Bloke from the prison. One always reckons he knows you.
Charlie Bennett.
Perhaps Mrs. Stevens lets petty criminals have the
He's
afternoon.
not petty. He's a murderer. He's doing life of bashing his wife's head in. Go after him. I'll drive round.
Inspector Morse, are you all right?
What the hell are you doing out?
I'm allowed out. Didn't you know?
Thank you, Steve. There's been a chemical spillage on the M4 westbound near Junction.
They haven't run out of milk then?
No, why should they?
Dissolve the road surface, so I'm told. Traffic is very slow.
When are you due for release?
3 weeks' time.
Okay, thanks, Andy.
They've been letting me out like this for a while. On parole. A few hours a day. Practice.
I must have scared the life out of you.
Bit of excitement. "16 years all told. They moved me to Farnley 4 months ago at Easter. That's what you're wondering, wasn't it? How long I've been inside. First time I was out on my own, I lasted 10 minutes. Had to go up an alley and throw up, shaking like a leaf. Felt like running back, saying, "Let me back in, let me come home." 16 years. You can become accustomed to a way of life. It's almost as if I don't mind anymore.
You don't mind what?
Being innocent. I am innocent, Morse. I didn't kill my wife. I came back that night, Tuesday the 4th of June, just like I told Sergeant Frampton 16 years ago. She was lying on the sitting room floor, her head covered in blood. Not me.
It was a fair trial, Charlie.
Tell me something. Why do policemen always call people like me by their first names when they don't believe them?
Everything's sorted to the governor's in Oxford herself, apparently. She's coming straight over here.
Have I got you in trouble, Morse? It's my fault. I shouldn't have run.
Oh, there's no need for you to...
No, but there is. I remember at the station. They'd left me alone for a while to give me time to think things over. You came in. I'd never seen you before. You brought me a cup of tea.
Did I? Well, somebody must have told me to. I'd just been made sergeant.
You said, "We've run out of milk. Hope that's okay, Mr. Bennett." It stayed with me. 16 years. Kind thought in a nasty world.
Sir.
I was pleased when I heard you were heading the Cryer investigation. I thought you'd be sensitive to what we're trying to do at Farnley.
Ahead is
But
the
now,
great journey of St Mary the Virgin.
I have a major crime to solve, Mrs. Stevens.
you won't solve it by chasing paroled prisoners around Oxford.
It was a mistake. I have apologized.
Your inquiry seems to have done nothing but obstruct my work. Why shouldn't I seek to have you replaced?
Replace me and you'll find out about obstruction. Most of my colleagues have a rather dim view of your regime at Farnley. I have a horror of the prison system. I spend my working life sending people into it, and I've never yet seen good come out. I agree with what you're trying to do at Farnley, but...
Then why obstruct me?
But your trust has been abused. The liberties you allow are obstructing my investigation. There's been a murder. I have to pursue the killer, regardless of your experiment. That is my duty.
And bugger the consequences.
Now, can we please go to Emma Cryer's? You drive. Chocolates. I've even got us running errands for them now.
Mrs. Stevens okay?
Oh, perfect, Lewis. Perfect.
Bloody idiot, Peter.
Yes? Hello?
Please, I want to speak to Mrs. Cryer.
It's not convenient.
Mrs. Cryer.
Inspector.
Look, it's really not convenient.
Last time we met, you were concerned as to when we might release your husband's body.
I still am.
Did he know about this relationship? Did you tell him before he died?
Don't be ridiculous.
This relationship is recent and private.
It would have been inconvenient otherwise.
He was hardly likely to find out about it in prison.
What exactly are you here for, Inspector?
If you came to talk to Mrs. Cryer, I imagine it might be easier if I left.
Please, sit down, Mr. Thornton.
You disliked Lawrence Cryer, didn't you? You think he misled your father, don't you? Betrayed him.
I never knew much about the business. I hardly knew Cryer. I hardly knew anything at all. I just believed my own father.
Perhaps you'd like me to leave, Inspector.
And what do you believe now?
Now I know a little more.
And now you're having a relationship with Mr. Cryer's wife. And he's conveniently died and left her everything. That's practically the basis for a charge.
Rubbish. You can inspect the will if you like. There's nothing left of everything.
I'm interested in what's been left out in the will.
Why worry about what doesn't exist?
You've visited Farnley Prison a few times, haven't you, recently? The 15th, the 17th, and the day Mr. Cryer died, the 21st.
I was visiting my father.
Who wouldn't talk to you?
No.
And Mr. Bailey. You also saw Mr. Bailey with Mrs. Cryer.
What of it? We were friends.
So you were a friend of Bailey, but hardly knew Lawrence Cryer, with whom your father had worked for 10 years or more. What did you talk to your friend Bailey about?
I don't remember.
Money.
What money?
And to your father? Did you talk to him about money?
He's seen God. He'd give it all away.
And that would be a problem.
It's academic. He's got nothing to give away.
Inspector, if you persist in not talking to me, I believe I have every right in asking you to leave. If you don't, I shall call the police.
What does she want from you, Peter?
You were pushing it a bit there, sir.
Pushing it with that pair of hyenas?
You've got no evidence at all about this money.
What other explanation is there? All right, don't tell me. Follow it up if you must.
I've got a list of the investors who live locally.
I'm not chauffeuring you around Oxfordshire while you interview impoverished pensioners.
My car's at the station.
You still agree with Cheatham, then? Secret bank accounts and all that?
Why else are they flapping around each other like some witch's Sabbath? They smell money. By the way, any agreement I have with Cheatham is entirely coincidental. He's an ambitious chancer. He just wants to crack a big case.
He'll be after your job if we do.
He'll be after Stranger's job if we do. Then he'll be able to authorise his own phone taps. Right, off you go, Lewis. Give these to Bailey, will you? I'll see you at Farnley later.
Where are you off to?
I've got to do some legwork for Chief Superintendent Cheatham. Afternoon. Keeping fit. I was just passing. I thought I'd see how you were. There's one thing puzzled me. You said you'd never been to the prison, but you used to go quite often, didn't you?
I said I don't anymore. Every time I had to screw myself up to go. It got too much, honestly.
Right. You think I should try this? Lose a bit of...
Yes, you should. I think you should.
Well, maybe not right now. What about a cup of tea?
Afternoon. Sergeant Lewis, Thames Valley CID.
You come back the door?
No, hang on a minute.
It's all right. I'm going to get him done. Neutralised. Oh, he's got a lovely nature.
Are you Dave Metcalfe?
No, I'm his brother, Andy. Look, you can't be serious.
Bill, will you shut up?
Where is he, brother?
He's abroad.
I wanted to talk to him about Cryer Investments. Larry Cryer?
Larry Cryer? Well, don't mention that name to Dave.
Why not?
Well, Larry Cryer lost about 15 grand's worth of Dave's money. Dave wants to break his legs.
Oh, it's a bit late. Cryer's dead.
Oh.
Where